Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, John, and thank you all once again for joining with us tonight to hear some of the details, and I'll leave that to my colleagues to talk to you about the details. I certainly stand here to provide and bring with me the Federal AMA support for the campaign that we've waged in Queensland. Certainly we've had votes at our Federal Council, and there was unanimous support from Federal Council to support doctors in Queensland to get a fair outcome, a balanced contract, an ability to work with their managers and not be dictated to by their managers in the interests of their patients. I was very pleased to get involved. In fact, I came along as an observer to one of your meetings. I think it was Victoria Park. It was a very wet night. It was pouring with rain. I think many people who are here tonight were probably at that meeting to hear that negotiations had stopped and there was going to be no further negotiation. There was going to be no further legislation change, and we were going to be faced with a very, very poor outcome for the people of Queensland, for doctors in Queensland. And I was very pleased to get involved. I mean, I recall that John Fraser and I had, I guess it's probably true to say, locked horns at time before. In Mocha 2, when I was AMA Queensland President, we found that we were getting nowhere. And the outcome that we achieved at that time was a portent for things to come. The Australian Medical Association Queensland branch, the ASMOF Queensland branch, and the Pineapple Group are the three groups at that time that achieved the outcome that allowed us to rebuild Queensland hospital system into the strong, attractive hospital system we've got today. And I think that was a very strong message that time. That's what I said at the at the Victoria Park meeting, that by working together, we're going to get a better outcome. We've shown in the past that we've done it, we can do it again. And so I was very, very pleased to lend that federal support to the Queensland campaign. I've been very proud to be part of this process. It's been an unprecedented coalition. We've had AMA Queensland, we've had ASMOF, the federal arm of the union, which has been crucial to have an entity from outside of the state that can lend support, that can actually collect the fighting fund. It was not possible locally. We've had ASMOF Queensland, we've had the Together Union, and it's extraordinary, it is extraordinary and unprecedented that those groups all together work together to actually get an outcome. But it wasn't just those groups. It was the SMO task force, and it was the Pineapple Group. It was the fact that doctors can get together very quickly and get a collective view, and John Fraser was critical in getting that Pineapple Group back together and getting that public show of support. But it wasn't just them. It was our patients who actually showed us our support, as we've heard. It was our registrars that work with us, their residents who supported us. It was the ward staff. And when I was in Townsville, the ambulance officers came to the public meeting. The nurses came to the public meeting, as we've heard. There was unanimous support. And for me, the other critical thing, and we've heard it already today, is that the SMOs and the VMOs are together. They work together. They have common outcomes. It's really important. 100% of us are working together for the same goal, and that is to achieve a balanced arrangement and a balanced arrangement between management and the doctors who work there. So there's no doubt in my mind that is the reason that the government came back to the table. There is no doubt in my mind that that's the reason that the outcomes that you're about to hear were delivered, because it was just by show of that support for each other and a support for a better outcome for Queenslanders. Look, there are some individuals who may or may not be recognised. Obviously, I've talked about John Fraser, who was critical, the fat Glaswegian. He might actually give us a tune at the end of the night. We'll have to wait and see. Look, there's someone I just want to recognise from here, and that's Siva Sentharan, our colleague from Townsville. Those of you who know Siva, and he'll be very annoyed that I'm actually mentioning it, but he's a quiet man. He's a thoughtful man. He's worked very hard for you. He was there from day one. He was in that first meeting. He was there when they stopped the negotiations. He's been there for you at every SMO teleconference. He's been on the web. I got 723 emails, and I'm sure that Siva's had triple that number. And he's worked quietly in the background for you. Look, I think he needs to be recognised, and thank you for that round of applause. There were others, Susan Royal and Hao Tan, who've equally, and Hao will come and speak to you, but they were there in those days as well. They worked hard, they were earnest, they were honest, they informed government very keenly about what they needed to hear. Look, there are others too, and I know that I'm going to leave people out, but there are others like myself, and I guess who are put themselves in the public eye, who end up getting criticised sometimes, and we have to take the good with the bad. But these are individuals, some people like John Fraser. I mean, Rob, I think you might get named in Parliament after tonight. Where is he? There he is. So I'm sorry about that. I mean, people who go about their business on a day-to-day basis, it's your leaders. We're happy to put ourselves out there. We're happy to be criticised if necessary. We're happy to stand up for the profession. But when our colleagues do the same, I'm full of admiration, and you know, they do take it to heart. And I think it's a very sad thing sometimes. But anyway, look, I'm not going to say any more. I'm really pleased to be part of this coalition that's delivered a significant improvement on where we started. You know, there will be no changes to the contract, is what I heard when I first came to Queensland. There will be no legislation changes. We've achieved both, ladies and gentlemen, and you'll hear about it in a moment.